sense of direction and how we're getting our fiscal house in order. It means small families, it means small business, it means big business know what we got to do. And I say that within the context of a still inflation that is slamming the middle class. And I'll be there listening with the legislature all years and things we can do to make it more supportable, not just in the new session, but even sooner than that. I've asked Jeff to take a look at, in particular, gas tax revenues, the reserves, and things we can do to make that a little more affordable, not just in the new session, but even after December 1st. So those are some of the things we got to think about as we help people get through this economic time. You know, with that, let me take it back to Susan Beisowitz, and I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. I want to say thank you to the voters. We are here to serve you.
Governor, thank you so much. We are so grateful to the voters of our state who have spoken. We thank everyone who came out, and we especially thank our United States military veterans. We will be celebrating Veterans Day on Friday of this month, and so we say thank you to the people of Connecticut who sacrificed and put their lives on the line so that we can have free and fair elections in our beautiful state. We are so grateful to the people of Connecticut for placing their confidence in us for the next 4 years. So many voters told us it was because of the governor's very strong and decisive and compassionate leadership during the COVID-19 pandemic. And they also told us loudly and clearly that they want us to continue on this path of keeping our fiscal house in order. They want us to keep passing balanced budgets without raising taxes and paying down our debt obligations. And they also told us that they want us to continue a bipartisan approach. The governor and I were proud to pass budgets that had bipartisan support and so many initiatives to expand access to health care, to child care, to provide more child mental health services. We are looking forward to continuing this bipartisan effort. And we also heard loud and clear from the voters of our state that they want all of us to stand up for women's reproductive rights, and the team that is standing behind me is so very committed to doing that. Also, the voters told us that early voting was important to working families in our state, that they wanted to have more flexibility, more days, more time to vote. And so we look forward to working with the legislature to make that happen. So with that, it is my very great pleasure to introduce our state treasurer-elect, who's going to help us continue to pay down our pension debt and keep our pension funds solvent and strong, Eric Russell.
So, good morning, everyone. I really just want to say thank you. Thank you to the voters for putting your trust and faith in me in holding this position. Thank you to my incredible team who worked tirelessly through this campaign to get our message out to voters. And a special thank you to my family, particularly my husband who is here, who was very much involved and has been so supportive throughout this journey. This is an honor of a lifetime in so many ways, and I'm really excited to partner with this incredible team as we continue to move our state forward. We crisscross the state talking about a message of making sure that we are meeting our obligations to state and municipal employees and teachers and retirees, and growing our pension funds, protecting their retirements, investing in our communities across the state with an eye toward economic growth, and improving our overall fiscal health, continuing much of the work we've done to pay down our unfunded pension liabilities and to to continue to improve our bond rating, allowing us to invest in our state at the lowest cost to taxpayers. And I'm excited to continue us on that journey and to make sure that we are also doing so in a way that keeps working families in mind and is seeking out opportunities for upward mobility for all of our residents across the state. I understand that me standing here as the treasurer-elect in many ways is an unlikely story, and that's not lost on me, and I plan to bring that perspective every day to this job. And so I'm excited to get to work and to continue to move our state forward as we invest in our future. So thank you all.
So it is my great pleasure, having served in this job that was wonderful, not quite as wonderful as being Lieutenant Governor, but Secretary of the State. The Secretary of the State-elect, who will be our Chief Business Registrar and our Chief Elections Official, who will fight to expand voting rights and participation in our state, Stephanie Thomas.
Good morning. None of us gets here alone, so I do want to say thank you to some people, definitely my staff and volunteers who have worked so hard for what seemed like an uphill climb when I first announced on December 1st. My mother, without whom this would not be possible. You know, I grew up in difficult circumstances, and sometimes it's hard to dream, but my mom never let us give up on our dreams, and she taught us that we could do anything if we put our mind to it. So Mom, proof positive. And my husband, who is here today, who has been the very definition of a great wingman. Without him, I certainly would not be standing here today. Or I might be standing here, but my clothes might not be dry cleaned. So thank you to everyone who made it possible. I see my victory as a sign. I was a long shot candidate when I got into this race, but I talked about two things: civic education and civic engagement, and it is a message that resonated with literally every demographic, from young to old, no matter the ethnicity, no matter their background, their career, small town, big city. Everyone wants to make sure that their voice is heard, and yes, that is done with their vote, but they also want to make sure it's heard beyond Election Day. So I look forward to helping to teach the electorate how to make their voice count. I will make sure their vote counts, but also empower them 365 days a year to make sure they know how to advocate for what's important to them. And I also spent this last year literally talking to everybody: Democrats, Republicans, unaffiliated, data geeks, disability rights groups, religious institutions, and on and on and on. And every single one of them said they are tired of the rhetoric, they are tired of negativity, and they are tired here in Connecticut of misinformation and lies about our very safe and secure elections. So I see my victory as an endorsement that Connecticut is ready to move on, and we are ready to make sure that, yes, we tweak our systems, yes, we make sure we are best in class, but let's solve the problems that actually exist instead of the ones that are made up. So thank you all. I'm happy to be here with this great team.
It's now my pleasure to introduce someone who will work every day to make sure that our state budget is on sound footing, and also will expand access to affordable quality health care, our Controller-elect, Sean Scanlon.
Well, good morning, everybody, and I too will join Stephanie and Eric in just saying a few thank yous, because we didn't get a chance to do that last night, and I'm on about 2 hours of sleep, so I'll be brief and just say, listen, this is an incredible honor. I've had the honor of working in this building behind me for the last 8 years, and that's been the greatest honor of my life. but to now be able to work at that one is even a greater honor. And I'm so grateful for the people of Connecticut to give me that honor. Just a few quick thank yous. I am entering an office with great shoes to fill, and I just want to acknowledge our current comptroller, Natalie Braswell, who's here this morning, who's done an incredible job. Had a chance to speak to her this morning, and Kevin Lembo, who was a great friend of mine and our previous comptroller, who also deserved a round of applause. Today is my mom's birthday, and like Stephanie, I would not be here without the strength of that woman. So happy birthday, Mom, and thank you to her for helping me stand behind this podium today. My wife and 2 small children were up really late last night, so they went home. But obviously nothing in my world is more important to me than those 2 boys and my wife, and just love you guys, and so grateful for all the support they gave me here on this campaign trail. My in-laws, who really stepped up and helped out. This is not easy on a family to run for statewide office, and they've been great. And last but not least, Christina Penn, who's here, who was my legislative aide and the driving force behind this campaign. Just so grateful for her and everything she does. Look, yesterday, the people of Connecticut endorsed the values that this team holds. And they gave us a mandate to continue making progress in the state of Connecticut each and every day on the issues that each of us campaigned on. And I am deeply honored by the hundreds of thousands of people who placed their faith in me to be the fiscal watchdog of Connecticut. And that's what I will do each and every day for the next 4 years, to make sure that we protect their taxpayer dollars and to continue working with the governor and this team to making sure that we turn Connecticut's finances around and continue the amazing progress that we're seeing here in this state, that because of that progress is making this state more affordable for each and every person who lives here, and is giving my sons and the next generation of Connecticut a better state to live in than the one that I grew up here in Connecticut. It's the honor of a lifetime to be the next comptroller of the state of Connecticut, and I look forward to getting to work as soon as possible. Thanks all.
Thank you, Sean. And it is my pleasure to introduce our current and future Attorney General, a fighter for consumers, for our environment, for civil rights, Attorney General William Tong.
I joke, sometimes I point to Senator Blumenthal and say, I think they're talking about you. Thank you all, and thank you to the people of this state again for your trust and confidence. Last night was a big win. It was a big win for Connecticut. It was a big win for reason and fact and science and the rule of law. I could not be more proud to stand with this incredible team and this incredible team behind us that is so confident and affirmative and strong. Let me just say, I'm looking across the street there, catty corner to the Capitol. There's roughly 300 people in the Office of the Attorney General who do the work fighting for people in this state every single day. That's true about the governor, lieutenant governor, our United States Senator, all of my fellow constitutional officers. We would not be here without our teams, without our staffs, without thousands of people in my office led by the Deputy Attorney General and lawyers, staff, investigators, and all these people right here, commissioners, deputy commissioners. I'm really grateful to all of them. This is not just a victory for Connecticut, but a validation and a victory for them, because we got elected because of the work that they do. And I just want to say thank you to each and every one of them. Look forward to working with all of you in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, General Tong. And our final speaker, a fighter also for the people of Connecticut and Washington, D.C., Senator Richard Blumenthal.
Thank you so much, Susan, and thank you for your leadership over these last 4 years and many years before as Secretary of the State and a state legislature. Just to pick up the point that William was making, you know, Governor Lamont knows better than anyone, because he's been in business, that the most important test of management is who you hire to do the job. And I think the quality of this team reflects the excellence of state government at its best. And I say that having seen a lot of state governments and served in state position myself. So thank you to every one of you for your excellence, and to Governor Lamont for making these decisions. And the second point I make is that beyond the group here, there are literally tens of thousands of state workers who are doing their job right now. They're out on the streets, they're repairing roads, they're teaching in schools, they're in police uniforms, they are serving the public. In Connecticut, we believe in public service, and we believe in public servants. And that is a very, very important principle at a time when denigrating public service and public servants has become de rigueur in a lot of the country. We ought to stand up and speak out for people who do this job day in and day out, often underappreciated. That has never been more true than these last 3 years, when simply reporting for duty, coming to work, often put their lives in danger. We forget at our peril how dire our state's situation was, and how important Governor Lamont's leadership was in enabling us to overcome it at a time when a lot of the country was denying it, and how important public servants were in doing their job every day when it often put their lives at risk. And we ought to be especially appreciative of that fact. So there are days when I miss my old gig. And this is one of them, because this team is really fantastic, and I would love to be a part of it here. But I am so proud to have voted for them, and I would just say to fellow citizens of Connecticut, this is what America looks like at its best. This is what Connecticut looks like at its best. And I'm really so happy to be here on a sunlit New England autumn day to say thank you to Connecticut for doing us proud. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator. We so appreciate this historic, diverse team that was just elected, and the amazing, diverse, and talented people that work so hard for our team every day. So we'll take on-topic questions.
Governor, you said Connecticut got it right. It's time to move forward. Biggest challenges and top priorities. How do you do that?
Growth and opportunity. You know, we were flat as a pancake. We hadn't created any net new jobs in 30-plus years. And some young people are leaving the state, and some companies. And I'm going to do everything I can to get people back to work. It's an incredibly unique time when we have 100,000 jobs to fill. And I'll do everything I can to make it easier for you to be able to step up and take one of those jobs. You know, that means, A, we got our schools open. B, that means daycare and childcare, widely affordable and accessible to more people. Making sure that if you want a debt-free community college, you can step up and get that. If you need an 18-week certificate program to be a laser welder or electric boat, we make that available to you. I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for each and every one of our folks, regardless of background, regardless of zip code. We're not going to waste that opportunity.
And just to follow up, so many families, as you referenced, are being slammed by inflation right now. How will you lower costs? What is your message to those voters who are really concerned with these rising prices?
Well, first of all, look what we've already done. You know, the biggest middle-class tax cut, a lot of that dropped this summer during the worst of what was going on. And I'll be working with the legislature very closely. Jeff at OPM is talking, seeing what we can afford to do going forward. I'm going to make sure that I do everything I can to help the middle class during this incredibly tough time.
Have you gotten a chance to look at?
About the gas tax, you talked about possibly a special session. What do you think?
I'm thinking, I got to see what we can afford, and we're going to model this out. And if gas goes up 25 cents, so what does that mean we can do in terms of a gas tax cut? If it goes down, what do we need to do to make sure I have enough money to fix our roads and bridges? Right now, I think we're in decent shape, and I'd like to sit down and talk with the legislature how we can continue a gas tax cut beyond December 1st.
Your challenger who lost last night talked to you this morning, and he asked you to look at that police accountability bill. Is that even on your plate?
Look, I'm happy to talk to the legislature about any ways we can fine tune this, but I think we don't want to demagogue this bill. I think this bill is going to remind people we got the best police in the world, and that's what it'll show.
Have you gotten a chance to look at the state legislative results, and how is that going to impact your legislative priorities heading into January?
I know, you maybe study that more than I do.
Well, there's some recounts. I think it's fair to say that the Democrats gained in the state Senate. Looks like the state House perhaps as well. But the bottom line is, I think the people sent us the message that they want bipartisanship, and so we're going to continue to lead, to find common ground, and to keep doing what the governor has pushed us to do in terms of finding middle ground. We've done that on budgets, we've done that on legislation, and we're going to continue.
Governor, a larger majority is not always a comfortable thing for a governor. Your agenda that you just outlined largely is based on economic growth. So what is your message to labor today? There are a couple more former labor leaders and activists who will be part of the General Assembly. What should they reasonably expect from you as far as a labor agenda, given that you've already signed off on the wage increase and paid family medical leave?
Look, first of all, I'm happy with our General Assembly. I'm happy with our state Senate. I like people who are constructive. I like people who come up with solutions. And I don't have all the solutions. It's a big table. And as Susan said, it's a big table and an open door, and I'm happy to have Republicans, if they want to be constructive, please sit down and help us work through some of the challenges we face. That's been my motto ever since day one. You know, when it comes to labor, first of all, you respect labor and the right to organize. You know, we're the ones that nobody had gotten the CBAC agreement done for a while, and we stood up. We said, look, you stood up for us during the very worst of COVID. We're going to stand up for you, give you a multi-year contract going forward. We've got a very good proposal on with the state police right now going forward as well. And we're trying to provide additional wage supplements to folks in nursing and other places where perhaps salaries have not kept up, trying to make it a little more affordable, easier to access. That's in daycare, that's in nursing, that's for folks taking care of people with special needs. I think we're on the same page there.
Well, what's your message to CBIA on that? CBIA always reacts horribly to the election of union members and union leaders to the General Assembly. So what do you tell Kristen?
Don't react horribly. Let's go meet these people, introduce yourself, say what is important to CBIA, listen to their point of view. That's something, Susan and I and all the folks here do every day. And I really urge labor and business to do the same thing.
On the issue of early voting, just sort of a two-part question. First, for our newly elected
Please.
Secretary of the State, how do you, I know it's going to be up to the legislature to determine how this gets flushed out, but what would be your strong recommendation on what this looks like going forward? And also, after you, for the Attorney General, I know there's a legal challenge to this, and how do you see that getting flushed out?
My strongest recommendation is not to respond to sound clips, right? I'm studying data. I know the Secretary's office is studying data from around the country. I feel confident that we can implement a system that works. Based on the information I have so far, I would expect us to be somewhere in that few days to 5 days window. I expect to start day one in January with a plan in hand, and I will be speaking with legislators. Even now that I know who they are, I will be speaking to them before January so that we can hit the ground running with something that can be implemented here in Connecticut.
The last question.
Just very quickly, I'm not going to comment on the specific facts and allegations of this lawsuit. Suffice it to say, we're way behind most other states in early voting and creating more access to elections, so we're going to win this case.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Yeah.